1. When the pain begins. I've been around the iron game long enough to know this truth. The gym will give you back what you put into it, but it will also punish arrogance without mercy. Picture this: Sam, 22, eager, wide-eyed, and fueled by every motivational clip on Instagram. He walks into the gym on a Monday night, chest day of course, and loads up the bar like he's already Mr. Olympia. The first few reps feel fine, the pump is intoxicating, and the ego soars. But then it happens. A sharp sting across the shoulder, not just soreness, but the kind of pain that whispers, something is wrong. Within weeks, Sam is sidelined, prescription in hand, and his dream of progress turns into months of frustration. Here's the hook, friend. Sam's story isn't rare. In fact, studies show nearly 70% of gym-goers experience some form of injury within their first year. 70%. And yet, most of those injuries aren't the result of some heroic lift or record-breaking attempt. No, they creep in quietly. Bad posture on a squat, jerking the bar on a deadlift, or benching with shoulders rolled forward. Small cracks in technique that, over time, break the whole foundation. Now here's the twist. The weight isn't your enemy. Gravity isn't conspiring against you. The true culprit is neglect. Neglecting form, neglecting warm-up, neglecting recovery. It's not the heavy barbell that ruins a shoulder. It's the impatience behind the lift. So what's the lesson? Pain doesn't have to be part of the process. Discomfort, yes. Growth, absolutely. But injury? Injury is optional, and more often than not, preventable. I'll tell you what I tell every young lifter who asks for advice. Strength is built on discipline, not recklessness. The gym is a lifelong journey, not a 3-month sprint. Respect the iron, respect your body, and you'll last long enough to see the transformation you're chasing. Message to carry forward. Train right, last long. Train wrong, and the gym will teach you a painful lesson you'll never forget. 2. The hidden mistakes. Walk into any gym on a Monday night, and you'll see it plain as day. A young man grinding through squats, back rounded like a question mark. Another jerks the barbell off the floor in a deadlift, every vertebra screaming in silence. Over on the bench, someone bounces the bar off his chest like it's a trampoline. They're sweating, they're straining, and they think they're training. But what they're really doing is writing a check their body won't be able to cash. Here's the truth I've learned after decades under the bar. It's not the heavy loads that cripple most lifters. It's poor form. Technique, not testosterone, separates the men and women who grow stronger year after year from those who spend half their training life in rehab. The climax comes when we realize the irony. Beginners often believe lifting heavier will make them look serious. They chase numbers instead of mastery. But the bar doesn't care about your pride. You can fake strength on social media, but you can't fake it when gravity pulls. The bar always tells the truth. Now, here's the twist. Most injuries don't happen because the weight was too much. They happen because the movement was wrong. Hips too high in a deadlift, knees caving in a squat, elbows flared wide on a bench. Bad mechanics turns even lightweights into a ticking time bomb. So what's the lesson? Form first, always. It's not glamorous. It won't impress anyone on TikTok, but it's the foundation of progress. Think of it like building a house. You don't start with the roof, you start with the foundation. And in the gym, that foundation is flawless technique. Here's the message I want burned into your memory. Add weight when your form begs for more, not when your ego does. The gym isn't about rushing toward numbers. It's about building a body that lasts. Perfect the basics, and the heavy lifts will come. Ignore them, and you'll learn the hard way what a torn tendon feels like. 3. The forgotten ritual. Every day I watch it happen. A lifter strolls into the gym, earbuds in, hoodie up, straight to the barbell. No stretch, no warm-up, not even a shoulder roll. He dives into his first UI like he's late for battle. 5 minutes later, he's wincing, rubbing a knee, or tugging at his lower back. Another soldier down, felled not by the weight of the iron, but by his own impatience. Here's the hard truth. Most gym injuries could be prevented with a proper warm-up. But because warming up isn't sexy, because it doesn't look cool on Instagram reels, it's the first thing most lifters cut. The climax of this mistake shows up fast. A tight hamstring snaps under a barbell. A cold shoulder gives way mid-press. It's not always dramatic. Sometimes it's subtle. A strain here, a tweak there. But those little tweaks add up. Before long, you're not pushing forward. You're spending weeks just trying to get back to baseline. Now, here's the twist most folks miss. A warm-up isn't just about breaking a sweat. It's about priming your nervous system, waking up your joints, and telling your body, we're about to do something serious. Think of it as turning the key in your car on a cold morning. You don't slam it into gear before the engine's ready. Why treat your body with less respect than your truck? The conclusion is simple. 10 minutes of mobility, activation, and dynamic movement can save you months of downtime. Warm up the hips before you squat. Prime the shoulders before you press. Open the ankles before you deadlift. That small investment pays dividends for decades. So here's the message, and I want you to etch it in your training journal. Spend 10 minutes warming up, or spend 10 weeks recovering. One costs you patience, the other costs you progress. 4. The choice is yours. The weight of ego. There's a moment every lifter faces, sooner or later. You're in the gym, eyes darting toward the rack, and you notice the guy next to you loading plates like he's training for war. Suddenly, your bar feels too light. You think, I can do more, I should do more. And before you know it, you're stacking weight you have no business lifting. I've seen it 1,000 times. Young men and women chasing numbers to impress strangers who weren't even watching. They grind through a sloppy squat, hitch their way through a deadlift, or half-rep a bench just to post it later. For a fleeting moment, their pride is fed. But the body remembers every cut corner. And the body doesn't forgive. Here's the climax. We call this ego lifting. It's the disease of trying to lift for validation instead of progress. And it doesn't just stall your gains, it breaks you. Torn rotator cuffs, herniated discs, strained knees. These aren't freak accidents. More often than not, they're the result of someone trying to prove a point that no one else cared about. Now the twist. The strongest people I've met, the veterans who've built real muscle over decades, rarely lift with spectacle. They move with control. Their squats are clean, their deadlifts smooth, their benches tight. The bar may look lighter, but the respect they command is heavier than any plate. Strength isn't about what you lift today. It's about what you can still lift 10 years from now. So here's the conclusion. Leave your ego at the door. The barbell doesn't care how much you want to impress. It only respects patience, discipline, and form. Add weight when your body earns it, not when your pride demands it. And the message I want you to carry forward: no one remembers the numbers. They only remember who's still standing. 5. When the body speaks, every lifter learns this lesson. Some the easy way, most the hard way. The body doesn't whisper forever. When it needs your attention, it shouts. The question is, are you listening? Take Joe, a warehouse worker by day, barbell warrior by night. He trained hard, harder than most, and wore his soreness like a badge of honor. Pain is weakness leaving the body, he told himself, quoting a slogan he'd seen on a t-shirt. But one night during a heavy squat session, that good pain in his knee turned sharp, sudden, and permanent. Within seconds, pride had become injury, and Joe spent the next 6 months learning how to walk without a limp instead of how to lift more weight. Here's the climax. There's a world of difference between productive discomfort and destructive pain. The first is muscle soreness, DOMS, that dull ache you feel a day or two after training. It's a sign you stressed the muscle and it's adapting. The second is joint pain, stabbing sensations, or lingering aches that don't fade. That's not progress. It's your body begging you to stop. And here's the twist. Too many lifters confuse the two. They ignore warning signs, chase intensity, and wear injuries like trophies. But the truth? Real strength is knowing when to back off. Champions aren't built by grinding themselves into dust. They're built by listening, adjusting, and training smart. The conclusion is simple. Learn to read the signals. Sharp pain? Stop. Lingering aches in the same spot? Reassess. If your body feels beaten down more often than built up, something's wrong. Recovery days, mobility work, even seeing a doctor, these aren't weaknesses, they're investments. So here's the message, and I mean it. Your body is the best coach you'll ever have. Ignore it, and it will sideline you. Respect it, and it will carry you further than you ever imagined. 6. The lost art of recovery. In the early days, I thought rest was for the weak. I believed the grind was all that mattered. More sets, more hours, more weight. If I wasn't crawling out of the gym drenched and broken, I thought I was slacking. But years under the iron taught me a truth no one wants to hear when they're young and fired up. Muscle isn't built in the gym. It's built in recovery. Here's the hook. I remember a lifter named Mark, always the hardest worker in the room. He trained 6, sometimes 7 days a week. While the rest of us stretched or took days off, he'd be under the bar, punishing himself. And for a while, it looked like it was working. Bigger arms, heavier lifts. But then came the crash. Chronic fatigue, nagging injuries, a back that gave out during a warm-up set. Mark wasn't overtrained in spirit, but his body was bankrupt. The climax is this. Training tears muscle fibers down. Sleep, nutrition, and recovery rebuild them stronger. Skip that process, and you're just digging a hole deeper and deeper, never filling it back up. Science backs it. Lack of sleep spikes cortisol, slows protein synthesis, and increases injury risk. No supplement, no pre-workout, no caffeine shot can replace a night of real rest. And here's the twist. Most lifters think an extra workout will push them ahead. The truth? Often it just pushes them backward. One more rest day, one more hour of sleep, one more stretch session. That's where the real growth hides. Champions know this. They train hard, yes, but they recover harder. So the conclusion is simple. Recovery isn't weakness. It's strategy. Foam roll, stretch, hydrate, sleep like your gains depend on it. Because they do, and the message I want you to carry. Don't confuse laziness with recovery. Laziness holds you back. Recovery moves you forward. Respect rest, and it will reward you with strength that lasts a lifetime. 7. The long game. When you've been lifting as long as I have, you stop caring about the noise. The numbers shouted across the gym, the plates slammed for attention, the quick transformations splashed all over social media. Those things fade. What doesn't fade is the man or woman who shows up year after year, decade after decade, still moving, still strong, still standing. Here's the hook. The real victory in fitness isn't in the 315 bench press or the shredded summer photo shoot. It's in the 40-year-old who squats pain-free. It's in the grandfather who can carry his grandkids without wincing. It's in the woman who trains into her 60s, stronger than she was at 30. That's the long game. The climax comes when you understand this. Chasing shortcuts will betray you. Ego lifting, skipping recovery, ignoring pain. They'll steal years from your training life. But respecting the basics, keeping form tight, resting when needed, eating clean, and staying consistent, those habits add years, even decades, to your journey. And here's the twist. The iron doesn't reward those who burn the brightest for a moment. It rewards those who refuse to quit. who show up on the good days and the bad, who treat training not as a phase but as a lifestyle. Longevity beats intensity. Discipline beats hype. So the conclusion is this: make peace with the slow grind. Celebrate the quiet victories. The gym isn't a 3-month challenge. It's a lifelong commitment. You don't win by lifting the heaviest weight today. You win by still being here tomorrow, next year, and 10 years from now. The message I leave you with: strength isn't measured in pounds on a bar. It's measured in years under the bar. Train smart, train patient, train for life. Because the iron will always be there, waiting, ready to reward those who respect it.